So first off, I'd like our entire admin team, if they can come up here for a minute. I just want to make sure everyone knows who our leaders are. So if I have not met you yet, my name is Blake Prewitt, Superintendent of Ferndale Schools. Really quick, going to kind of go down the line here and hand the microphone to everyone just so you can kind of put a face with some of the names that you might have heard before.
Derek Adams, Principal of Kennedy.
Brian Alford, Building Leader at UHS.
I'm Jason Beatty. I'm one of the other building leaders at University High School.
Good evening. Sean Butler. I'm the Assistant Principal and Athletic Director here at Ferndale High.
Good evening. Eric Bruner, Principal, Coolidge Intermediate School.
Good evening. Ray Locks, Director of Special Ed.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dina Roshlow, the Assistant Superintendent of Instruction. I'm so glad to see you all here tonight.
Good evening, everyone. Tom Mace, Curriculum and Instruction.
Good evening, everyone. Sandra Grosso, Adult and Alternative Ed.
Hi, everyone. Heidi Schmidt, Grant Early Childhood Center.
All right. Good evening, Diana Keefe, Roosevelt.
Tom Shelton, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources.
Bill Good, I'm the Director of Communications.
Carl Corey, Retention and Recruitment.
Good evening, Lisa Williams, Principal of Ferndale High School.
Good evening, I'm Pam Belliver. I'm the Supervisor of the Michigan Works Office in Ferndale.
Good evening, Bob Francis, Assistant Principal at Ferndale Middle School.
Good evening, Beth Grillo, ELA Curriculum Coordinator.
Good evening, Dee Petrie, Maintenance and Transportation.
Hello, Nancy Hoover, Assistant Superintendent of Finance.
Hello, Ryan Velzy, Director of Technology.
Good evening, Roger Smith, Ferndale High School Class of 1974. Welcome home, Cotter. And I'm the Assistant Principal here.
Katie Jeffrey, Building Leader at UHS, Ferndale High, Class of much later than Roger.
Hi, I'm Dawn Warren, Principal at Ferndale Middle School.
Thank you very much, Dawn. Go grab a seat. These are all the people that are with your children and responsible for your children each and every day. As we go through this process of reconfiguration, this is the team that we are all working together on, coming up with what we want the education to be not only today, but 10, 15 years from now. So when the student is in kindergarten, we can ensure that they have the best education possible in 12th grade. I had the privilege the other Monday of being at the Martin Luther King Jr. event in Royal Oak Township at the Rec Center. And I felt that there was a great quote from Martin Luther King Jr. I wanted to start with today. The function of education, therefore, is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. But education which stops with efficiency may prove the greatest menace to society. The most dangerous criminal may be the man gifted with reason, but with no morals. We must remember that intelligence is not enough. Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of a true education. When I came to Ferndale, one of the things that I said was that my goal is to make Ferndale the school district that beat the odds. We know, and it's in our strategic plan, we talk about the achievement gap, the opportunity gap that is in our country, that Ferndale was going to be the place to beat that, and we are on that track. We can show that a diverse, racially, culturally, and socio-economically district can be high achieving for all. I've been very impressed with this community, coming in new to this community, that this community does think about the greater good. This community is social justice minded. And that is something that is important to the character of our students. That speaks more than just the classes that they learn from, but the character that we are building. We are a community that treasures all its students, no matter where they come from. Ferndale, Royal Oak Township, Pleasant Ridge, Oak Park, Detroit, or any other city or township. When you are a Ferndale student, you are a Ferndale student. This morning, I met with a group of high school students where we started the conversation about what do they like about Ferndale? What do they want to see for Ferndale as we go through this process? The very first thing at 7 a.m. in the morning, this is a group of students that comes in at 7 a.m., which is quite amazing. If you have a high schooler to get them up that early and get into a building is quite amazing. The first thing they said that they loved about Ferndale was diversity. I wonder what our kindergartners will say when they're in high school. Will they be able to say that? Will they be able to value that? This community went through the process of making a strategic plan. That strategic plan is really like a three-legged stool of achievement, sustainability, and equity. If there isn't one leg of the stool isn't balanced and it falls. As we go through this process, I'd like you to remember that education is not bricks and mortar. Education is the people. Remember the teachers that made a difference in your life. Remember the people that you came in contact with. When I was a building administrator, I'd always say, give me a great group of teachers, great people to work with, put me in a barn and we'll make a difference. So as we go through this, what makes a difference in the education and lives of children, of all the children of the district, all 3,000 of them? Research shows us that it's no particular program that can make a necessary difference, but once again, the education that happens in the classroom. Our sustainability as a district. Last week there came out a study of the 10 best states in education and the 10 worst states in education. One of the quotes from that study is the discussion of the quality of education often turns quickly to money. It appears that the states with the highest level of achievement generally also spend more money on education. The states with the top 5 grades in achievement are all in the top 15 for funding per student. We do not have control of our funding per student, but we do have funding of what we do with that money once it comes in. And we do know that the more we allocate to the classroom and to the students, the better off the students are. So how do we do that appropriately for each and every student? We know the state is not going to help us be sustainable. If anything, the state does the opposite of help us be sustainable. So it is up to us as a community to keep our financial house in order so we can make sure those kindergartners have the education that we want for them in 12th grade. Our third leg of our stool is equity. There's a quote, education is the great equalizer, opening doors of opportunity for all. As a nation, we must be committed to providing educational equity and resources for all students so they may succeed. I've done a lot of time looking at the history of our district, where our district has been, where our district is going. We know as many districts we have not always done what's right for kids in our history. We had a group of community members stand up in the 1970s to stand up for kids and to move the district towards desegregation and to start making sure that we provided for all. I ask that as we go through this process, we have the courage to stand up for kids and for all kids and make sure that we remember that it's about each and every student that walks in our door. Because the reality is none of you send your child to school in the morning and say, I hope you get a lousy education. I hope no one cares about you. Or, I don't care about you when you leave my door. Every child that walks in the door, every child that leaves your door is precious to you. And we need to ensure that we can have that education that you want as a parent and that you know they deserve. I'm here today doing this process because I believe in Ferndale. I believe in our community. I believe in our parents. I believe in our staff. I believe in our students. I believe that we can be that shining star of diversity and equity in education. We can be the place where no matter where a student comes in, we can help them achieve. We are the district where we believe in diversity, dignity, and dreams. I ask as we go through this process, we work as a community for the betterment of all children, and we think about what do we want, not next year, not the year after, but 10 years from now. So we have a group of people that we have brought in this evening that have been looking through our information, that have done this for many other districts, that will start this process. And I'll begin by saying this is the start of the process, not the end of the process. This is the start of us looking at this information, the first time the community's had an opportunity to look at all this information. And we'll start the dialogue from here as we move forward. So our guests today are Dr. Michael Wilmot and Dr. Joanne Andres, who are joining us from the Michigan Leadership Institute, as well as Mr. Paul Wills and Mr. Ahmed Beasley from Plant Moran Cressa. Our agendas today is that we'll be talking some about our academic achievement, our finances, our facilities, and what some possible plans are moving forward. And once again, these are all the start of the conversation.